We are live now, doctor.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and it's indeed a great pleasure to welcome you all again to this TNOA Thursday evening program. And it's a pleasure and privilege to welcome you all to this webinar. As we march towards excellence, this webinar topic is very critical for our practice. It's two important topics on professional indemnity to safeguard your practice, and of course the vexatious Mediclaim insurance issues and their solutions. So we have a wonderful topic today to discuss, and we have expert panel and speakers to enrich our knowledge. And we have a special guest today. Warm welcome and to our guest of honor, Dr. Manoj Mathur, Treasurer of the All India Ophthalmological Society. Thank you, Manoj sir, for joining us. I'm sure your expertise will be enriching this session, and thank you for your presence. I'm also happy to welcome IMA North Zone Vice President Dr. K. Kasi, who will be joining us for the panel discussion. He is already there. Welcome, Dr. Kasi. I'm honored to welcome the Chairman and Convener of our TNOA Medical Legal Committee, who will be moderating this evening, Dr. Murli Ariga and Dr. Satyan. Thank you, Murli and Satyan, for putting together this program and also helping us with the medical legal work this entire year. And we also have a great experienced expert panel tonight to share their experience and expertise, starting with Dr. Ramesh Durerajan, Dr. V. Panniselvam, Dr. Jayantan, Dr. Sriram will be joining us today, and also the two speakers, Dr. Subhashini and Dr. Madanagopal, who has prepared extensively for these two topics with their work in the two committees, both Medical Legal Committee and Insurance Committee. And looking ahead, have a few announcements to make. Also happy to announce the completion of the consent forms in Tamil, which we started at Trichy during the last conference, which is now complete and available for our members to use on our website. And this milestone couldn't have been achieved without the leadership of Dr. Satyan, Dr. Sriram, and the two important committees, the TNOA Tamil Committee and the Tamil and the Medical Legal Committees. So thank you all for your commitment and time of working on this. So this consent forms is now available in our website, www.tnoa.info for download. It's been a work in progress. Now it is completed. I'm sure it will be a very useful resource material for all your practice. Looking ahead, we also have a lineup of enriching webinars. So join us for the Yoga Day special program by our own friend Dr. Ravichandran tomorrow at 8 p.m. And we'll be sharing the link by tomorrow morning. Dr. Ravi Kumar and Dr. Arvind, the team of Wellness Committee has prepared this program, and it will be a very useful resource and good program to go through on the special day, Yoga Day. And please join us and learn the nuances of this wonderful yoga on this special day. And we also have a special webinar, an international webinar to be precise, started by our Young Ophthalmologist Committee. So this will feature international ophthalmology experts. This will be on 4th July, again Thursday evening event.
WhatsApp
and,
group.
So I request all of you to join this program as well. And we also have financial wellness and a special webinar for the women ophthalmologists on July 25th. I request all of you to mark your calendar and join these important sessions. Additionally, the excitement builds as we approach the 71st annual conference of TNOA, scheduled from August 16 to 18th at Chennai. The organizing committee is making all effort to give you a grand conference. Your active participation will make this event a monumental success. I request all members to register and join us for the annual event. So with these words, I welcome the expert panel, Dr. Sendil and Dr. Sriram. You have anything to add to this? So thank you once again for joining us this evening. Let's look forward to an informative and engaging session. Sir. And over to our moderators, Dr. Murli Ariga and Dr. Satya Nagamare, to lead the way forward. So before Murli, may I request Dr. Manoj Mathur to say a few words and share his. He's been a very active member in these two programs, the medical legal as well as the insurance works on behalf of AAYS. Over to you, Dr. Manoj, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Nirmal Frederick. Thank you, TNOA, for this opportunity to be amongst you all. It's my pleasure to be here today for this very important webinar. We always speak about the diseases, how to manage them for the benefit of the patient. But how do we safeguard ourselves is the most critical thing. And towards that end, the nitty-gritty of professional indemnity, we all need to know how this indemnity insurance is different from the other forms of insurance. The basic thing here is like there should be no cutoff. There is no grace period to renew the insurance. And if at all there is a claim, there has to be a continuity maintained from the time you take the insurance till the time of incident. So apart from these, there are many in between the line things that I'm sure Dr. Subhashini will go into the details with the nitty-gritty. And regarding the second talk, which Dr. Madan Gopal is going to speak, less said the better. Probably we need even 10 webinars to overcome this, but I hope Madan will take up all these vexatious issues in a very brief manner so that we open up for discussion and the expert panel with the moderation from Dr. Murli and Dr. Satyan. I'm sure it is going to be a very fruitful webinar for all the delegates. Thank you very much for the support.
Thank you, Manoj. So before Murli, Dr. Sriram, do you have any announcement or inputs from you? You are muted, Sriram. Please unmute yourself.
Sorry, sir. Nothing, just one more point in addition to what you said, sir. As after the conference, it's an election year and we're going to start online voting, and the members who have not updated their profile, please, I would request everybody to update and also encourage the other members to update, so that you'll be only the members who updated their profile on or after August 2022 will be allowed to vote online. So kindly ensure that your profile is up to date. Otherwise, you'll have to come physically on the day one of the conference and vote, which is also welcome, but still. That's the only thing, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Sriram. You are well focused on your job. Ensure yes, you bring your ID cards and complete the registration process. So thank you.
Sriram sir, whether we have a deadline for registration, updation of the data, sir?
31st of July. I sent an election notification. In the election notification, you have all the data. 31st of July is the last date to update your profile.
Okay, sir. Okay.
And if
you're asking about filing nomination for vice president, that deadline is already done.
Okay. If the district affiliate society office bearers are here with us, we request you to ensure all your members are registered and the details updated in TNOA website. So please ensure you share this message to your member through your groups. Yeah, thank you. Over to you, Dr. Murli.
First of all, sincere thanks to the TNOA, particularly the TNOA led by our very dynamic president, Dr. Nirmal, for doing so many active webinars and committees and keeping the TNOA activity live. And this is actually one of the topics which I think is very important as far as our practice management, like Dr. Manoj has pointed out. And a very warm welcome to Manoj also, of course, a close friend as well as now the treasurer of the AOS. And I also welcome my moderator for the session, co-moderator, Dr. Satyan. And I think we will get started. And I think Dr. Subhashini is attending this meeting. I think I can see her in the list. Dr. Subhashini, are you there? Can you speak up? Would you like your slides first? Would you like to speak first?
Yes, sir, because I'll be reaching home in another 45 minutes.
So will you be able to talk now? So shall we go ahead? The slides will be projected for you. You can speak along. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So could you get the slides up for her, Ms. Manjula?
Sure, doctor.
I think most of us, I think we are trying to actually send out a Google survey to all our TNOA members as to assess the status of people who have professional indemnity and who don't have. What kind of indemnity they have? Do they understand the importance and value of having professional indemnity and so on? So I think with that in mind, I think we're going to send out a Google questionnaire. I have requested our secretary, Dr. Sriram, to send a Google questionnaire. So we'll be able to have some idea as to how many people have insurance, how many people have what type of insurance, do they know the risk involved and the how much to take cover and so on. I think many of these things Dr. Subhashini is going to cover. I request Dr. Subhashini, who is actually a very active, dynamic member of our medical legal committee and a consultant at Clarity Eye Care, to speak on the topic of indemnity and professional liability insurance.
Very good evening. I'm sorry, I'm traveling back to Chennai after attending a family emergency. I hope I will do justice in this session. So I'm going to talk about the professional indemnity and liability insurance. So the professional indemnity for medical practitioner is an insurance policy which covers doctors for legal fee incurred and damages paid if awarded by the court for claims or demands raised by third parties or patients or their kin alleging professional negligence. So now in this context, next slide. Medical negligence, what is the definition for medical negligence? Any act of commission or omission, intentionally or unintentionally, by a medical practitioner during diagnosis or treatment of the patient, which results in bodily injury, illness, sickness, adversities, or death of the patient. So who basically need a professional indemnity cover? We may be a newly graduated professional or an experienced medical specialist or a surgeon. It doesn't matter. It may not be an error, but we may still be alleged. In today's litigious world, claims can pose a significant threat to the financial security of the medical practitioner. So, independent doctors, medical professionals, medical establishments like hospitals, independent clinics and nursing homes, support staff employed by all the above institutions will need professional indemnity cover. So why do we need it? To err is human, we all know. But patients are not our friends forever. Terms and conditions given in the consent forms are not always enough. So what does the policy basically cover? Any compensation for claims arising out of bodily injury or death, which is not a result of willful neglect, unintentional negligence while rendering the professional services, liability including defense costs incurred while investigation, third-party damages, breach of confidentiality, libel and slander, loss of documents. So we have to understand what it does not cover. The punitive and exemplary damages, fines and penalties, pure financial losses, any criminal act, violation of any law or ordinance, losses arising due to an act of war or terrorism or invasion, losses arising due to fraudulent claims, contractual liability, services while under the influence of intoxicants and narcotics, liability arising out of pure cosmetic procedures like weight loss, plastic surgery, genetic damages, etc., intentional non-compliance, willful neglect, deliberate acts, loss of goodwill, losses arising due to insolvency, bankruptcy, any condition related to AIDS, practice without valid registration or certificate, administration of prohibited drugs, contravention of government acts, etc., unauthorized or illegal experimentation and procedures. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide. So we have to understand certain terms. What is sum assured? Sum assured is it refers to the limit of indemnity. The limit is usually fixed per accident and per policy period, and the premium is generally 0.2 to 1% of the sum assured. It is calculated based on the specialty, surgical versus non-surgical, type of clientele, and the size of practice. And we have to understand one more term called the AOY by AOA ratio. Right, please. Next slide. Yeah. So the limit of PI and the premium can be decided according to your medical specialization and type of customer segment the doctor is offering services to. The premium is calculated based on two main factors: past history of any litigation, legal cases in his or her areas of expertise. Next slide. So what is this AOA is to AOY? The limit is fixed, as I told you earlier. It's fixed as per accident and per policy period, which is called any one accident AOA limit or any 1 year AOY limit respectively. And it will be offered and recommended in the ratios, a ratio of 1:1 only commonly. Sum insured is mostly dependent on the factors I mentioned already. And the limit of liability can be from 5 lakhs to 5 crores, depending upon your volume of practice and the type of practice you have. And the insured needs to select and finalize the sum insured he is willing to opt for. So, what is AOY and AOA? The limit fixed per accident and per policy period, which is called any one accident limit and any 1 year limit, respectively. And So any one accident means the maximum liability in case of any one accident in the policy period. And any 1 year means limit on maximum amount payable in the entire policy period based on the ratio chosen by the proposer. So the ratio can be anywhere 1:1 or 1:2 or 1:3. For example, if you choose a ratio of 1:1, it means the maximum liability and the sum assured are equal. And 1:2 means maximum liability will be equal to the half the sum assured. So any other claim during the same policy period will get the other half. So what is the policy duration? It is usually for 1 year, which needs to be renewed every year for continuous risk cover. Next slide. How to select the product? So you have to choose sufficient sum insured, choose comprehensive cover with all extensions, get retroactive date coverage in case of renewal, check the mode of payment available, seek clarity about claims processes. So how and when to lodge a complaint? The insured should immediately lodge a claim once he's in receipt of complaint, return demand, or a legal notice from a third party, patient or their kin or any other third party related to their professional negligence with their insurance company. Next slide. Documents needed for lodging a claim. So you should produce a duly filled and signed claim form, copy of the policy document, any court notice or summon received, original proof of cost incurred on defending any lawsuit, court order or any written proof specifying the settlement amount, bank details of policyholder for sending reimbursement, additional documents required by the insurer based on the nature of the claim. Next slide. The claim settlement process has 3 stages: the claim intimation, the document submission, and the claim settlement stage. Next slide. So what are the reasons for claim rejection? Any violation of any laws, rules, and regulations, performing services under the influence of alcohol or toxic substances, claims reported in current policy but arising out of procedures or treatment performed before the retroactive date, non-disclosure of any material facts like claims history, proven intentional negligence. Next slide. So a few words about this IMA PPLS scheme. So it is a professional protection linked social security scheme for individual life members of IMA and not for institutions. And usually the protocol is the concerned doctor informs the local IMA PPLS's district coordinator within 10 days after receiving the notice Original case sheets with relevant documents given to the PPLS's medical legal team and case ID is generated, the doctor concerned will oblige the directives given by the PPLSS to file the case. So it basically pays for cases filed in the courts, forums and commissions, not for out-of-court settlements. If the doctor has an additional indemnity cover, only the balance will be settled by the PPLSS. So basically it makes you shed the defensive practice, and it is the best defense tool in the offensive society. It covers from the day of enrollment. It provides guidance and safeguarding from day one of receiving the notice. Next slide, please. So there is something called hospital liability or vicarious liability. Hospital liability with respect to medical negligence can be direct liability or vicarious liability. Direct liability refers to the deficiency of the hospital itself in providing safe and suitable environment for treatment as promised. Vicarious liability means the liability of an employer for the negligent act of its employees. The next slide, yeah. So the complex legal relationship between the hospitals, doctors, paramedical staff lead to issues which the courts find them too difficult to resolve. However, certain trends have emerged recently. There is a need to provide competent care based on a national standard. For example, the NABH. The state has to intervene with statutory regulations and to ensure that a standard of practice is established in hospitals. The hospital has both a vicarious as well as an inherent duty of care, the corporate obligation to its patients. The statutory regulations result in doctors being involved directly in setting the standards. This brings a separate liability upon the doctors independent of their professional liability. There is a demand not only for establishing initial standards of care, but for continuous monitoring of these standards and proactive measures to ensure that they are updated. Next slide, please. So there is a hospital protection scheme offered by the Indian Medical Association. It is confined only to Tamil Nadu. It covers hospitals but not individual doctors. The scheme will take up notices and cases against the hospitals enrolled and pay the compensation awarded against the hospitals but not against the individual doctors. The hospitals are requested to ensure that all the consultants and duty doctors are enrolled as members of PPLSS scheme so that the entire notice or case can be taken and fought collectively. The hospital should be members of IMA Nursing Home Board. Next slide, please. So thank you for patient hearing. I hope the presentation is clear. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Subhashini, for keeping your word and sticking to the time, as well as coming in to talk despite your other personal commitments and a tragedy and all that. And I think you really brought out the very salient aspects of the what is professional indemnity, the need for it, and who should take it, who are all liable, and so on. I think, first of all, let me welcome Dr. Paneerselvam from Erode. He's a veteran pioneer in various aspects of practice management, and also the chairperson of our Insurance Tamil Nadu Association Insurance Committee. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Oh, thanks for me. Yeah.
Yes, I think we'll start with your comments on how do you perceive the need and the current day requirement of professional indemnity in practice?
No, it's required. First and foremost, how we structure our practice and keeping up the documents properly. These are the fundamental things which will save you in the long run from any litigation. And keeping update with the current trend. And regarding professional indemnity, what IMA is giving, this is what I am following. But depending on the need and circumstances, each one has to have a protection in any case that we go into any liability.
Yes, I think the AOS has taken a very active and a very proactive role, I must say. I think Dr. Manoj and team of the AOS has really taken up the Cover You project, which is now offering professional indemnity cover for AOS members. And I think it's a very useful initiative, and it gives and highlights the various aspects of how much to take, which insurance to cover. Being in a group or an association-led involvement, I think it's an excellent initiative. And any comments and on that, Dr. Manoj?
Yes, like AIOS has taken this initiative in the interest of practitioners. We have launched a scheme called AIOS Suraksha. The caveat here is it is not an AIOS. Every single person, the contract is direct between the cover you and the concerned doctor. AIOS is only a facilitator because all these indemnity insurance coverages are one-to-one basis. One-to-one, either you can take it on your own or you can take it for the hospital also, and they are fixed premium based on one-to-one ratio. What Dr. Suhasini said, it is 100% claim, and the figures are very reasonable. Like, in fact, earlier I used to pay almost about 12,000 odd for my professional indemnity, which now I am supposed to pay only around 3,500 or 6,000, depending on the cover that I opt for. The second thing is it's a sense of security. These are the cover you is the only body in the country which is recognized by IRDAI for these activities, and they have group policies for more than 50 professional medical bodies all over the country, including many branches of IMA. So though the contract is direct between that concerned doctor and cover you have a sense of security. For every state, they have a panel of experts, more than 50 experts, and they have more than 50 lawyers per state. And the moment you get a notice, the moment you inform them, within 2 hours, a lawyer is attached to you, and things are, the professional guidance is given, the maintenance of documents are checked, and all possible professional help. That itself, if you get help within the first 2 hours, that takes off 50%, knocks off 50% of your tension. Like, if you are alone, you can only think, wow, how much stress we will be all going through. The other aspects of this is, like, even for oculoplastic cases with an enhanced premium, cosmetic cases, they do cover. And even in negligence cases, like criminal negligence, so-called, like other insurance companies, they straight away say no if a criminal negligence case is filed. But what Cover You does is, Cover You protects you even in criminal negligence cases, subject to the condition that you win the case. In case criminal negligence is established against you, then they will not pay for the compensation. The compensation is on you, but they will fight the case for you. That itself is a big this thing. Like, if a doctor is facing a claim of criminal negligence, Cover You is behind you to fight your case till it is proved that you are not your negligence is not on you. But if the negligence on you, criminal negligence, is proved, then you have to take care of the compensation. Then they have a runoff cover facility, which, like, the moment you stop your practice, for example, or you retire from practice, you stop paying the premium, but your indemnity
Cases will continue.
continues for the next 2 years. It covers for the next 2 years. And as I said in my opening remarks, one most important thing about indemnity insurance is there should not be a break of even one day. Like, if the renewal date, you have to renew your policy at least a day before this thing. There is no grace period in professional indemnity insurance. If there is a break from the date of incident and from the date of the case, if there is a break of even one day, insurance companies are not obliged to cover you. So these are the things AOI and AOA, Dr. Suhasini has explained very well. Many people, they come and they complain, oh, you have taken a 1 crore insurance, you have paid 16,000 rupees. I have taken a 1 crore insurance, I'm paying only 8,000 rupees. The in-between line is the AOI and AOA ratio. It says that 25%. That means for one incident, you have a cover of only 25 lakhs and not 1 crore. So that is the thing. All these nitty-gritty needs to be looked into regarding professional indemnity, and you select your premium as well as the sum assured to the best of your ability, to the best of as per your risk, anticipated risk. You can take whatever package you want. From the AIOS side, we have launched this AIOS Suraksha scheme, and they say there are about 15 advantages which, as an individual, if you opt for, you are not covered. So those details, like, we are planning a webinar probably next month with all the managing committee members from all over the country and all the elected members and the presidents and secretaries of all the state associations. We are going to plan a webinar and enlighten all the states about the advantages of professional indemnity through Cover You, how Cover You is better than the other schemes, and hopefully things get moving. Already more than 250 doctors have got their indemnity cover through Cover You as of now. Thank you, Murli.
Thank you very much, Dr. Manoj, for clearly explaining all the details, and we look forward to the next meeting which you are going to organize. And thank you once again. We have two important senior members of the IMA amongst us today. Dr. Kasi from the IMA in Tambaram, and he has been an office bearer and a leading active person in the medical legal circles as well. We also have Dr. Sendil from the IMA PPLS. He is the vice chairman of the legal cell, vice chairperson. So I'm going to ask first Dr. Kasi to make some comments and regarding the role of IMA, the PPLSs of Tamil Nadu, and the professional indemnity and what's the scenario, and followed by Dr. Sendil's impression about what's happening in Tamil Nadu. Dr. Kasi?
Good evening, respected leaders of TNOA and AIOS. And it's honor to be with you this evening. And I'm very glad and thankful to Dr. Murli Arga for this wonderful opportunity. I heard all the speakers. Actually, Dr. Manoj has explained very well about the positives of IMA, this one also, IMA indemnity and other things. The basic difference between indemnity insurance and IMA related PPLSs and related insurance scheme is one. It always the IMA insurance, the PPLSs or other state insurances, they always protect the doctor. But insurance is in indemnity insurance. You are part of a business plan, and whatever suits the business people, they will take it. Otherwise, you will be left alone when you need in crisis. And as very well pointed out by Dr. Subhashini, there's a possibility of rejection also. But there's no such rejection in IMA-related policies, PPLSs and other schemes also. And always they are considerate, and there will be hand-holding of all your crisis management, and also surely a doctor will understand you better than a businessman. That's it. And as far as PPLSS is concerned, recently the limit has been raised to 30 lakhs. The 5 lakhs limit has been scrapped from now on, and we can update up to 30 lakhs. As you said, even if you take 1 crore policy as an indemnity policy, the outgo will be less than 25 lakhs or less than 30 lakhs only. That's why we have revised the maximum limit as 30 lakhs recently, and it will be actively promoted soon. Also, as I already said, always a doctor will understand you better than a businessman. That's my comment. Thank you.
The premium has to be paid once in 5 years for the PPLSS. As compared to an annual payment for the.
There's a big difference. There's a big difference.
And of course, you have the comfort of dealing with
one more advantage for the PPLS is the longevity. Sorry, if I can add a point. So one more advantage for the Tamil Nadu PPLSs is the longevity. They've been in this for almost 2 decades now and handled hundreds of thousands of cases. And the cases, I think hardly 2 or 3% go for any negative contribution from PPLSs. Almost 85 to 90%, even with the first and reply. It's get the patient don't pursue or the lawyer doesn't come for the courts. And all these voluminous reply is a wonderful resource material for all of us to learn. That's more important because all this reply have been drafted by our own professional colleagues with the help of the legal professionals. That's So the experience and expertise with the Tamil Nadu PPLS is enormous, and we would really prefer the first choice to be the PPLS for our TNOA members, and of course have AOS as an added one, because we had an extensive discussion with Discover You people also on this. So based on your risk profile, we would advise to consider both.
Dr. Sendil, I think you have been drafting responses to many of the queries that come to you. I think you must have drafted about more than 100 to 200 legal responses to people having legal issues. I think I remember one or two cases which we had discussed, and you already had references and cross references, and you already written the draft and all that. So give us your experience about dealing with medical legal cases in the IMA and your role as Vice Chairman in the Tamil Nadu Medical Legal PPLSS.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Thanks for the opportunity, sir. Like Nirmal sir has pointed out, actually it's like more than 25 years, IMA PPLS Tamil Nadu is giving replies and is protecting the doctors in case of both civil and
I think you're muted, Sendil.
Sendil, you got muted.
Sir, is it audible now, sir? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, please, yeah.
Yes, sir. So thanks for the opportunity, sir. Like Nirmal sir has rightly pointed out, so IMA Tamil Nadu PPLSS is protecting the doctors in case of both civil and criminal liabilities for the past 25 years, sir. So whenever a case has been registered, so initially when a patient upon any grievance, when they send an notice, so its first reply will be through our.
You are again muted, sir.
Sir, I think, sir, is it on?
Yeah, you're back. Yeah, you're back.
Yes,
Are
sir.
you using your own mobile or instrument or your wife, sir?
It's a laptop, sir. So first reply will be given through the doctors, sir, who are is giving for IMA PPLSS. Most of the time, 98% of the replies so far given were success, sir. Actually, most of the replies won't go for an advocate or a court notice, sir. So in case if it goes for an court notice, then our panel of advocates, so they give a reply. And like Nirmal sir has rightly pointed out, more than 98% of our cases were in favor of doctors, sir. So that's the biggest advantage. And before writing a draft, we take time to talk with our doctors to really look into what is the issue is, and the first reply is drafted accordingly, sir.
So when you get a notice, when somebody, a practitioner gets a notice, we all panic. You say we have been treating patients for 20 years, 10 years, and we have had wonderful treatments and all that. Once you get a notice, you all panic and you go into a depression almost. Suddenly you get a notice out of the blue. How quickly should you respond to this, Sendil?
So once you get a notice, first thing I will tell is like everyone says, need not get panic, sir, because most of the time it will be like from an person who doesn't know what has happened, or somebody who thinks like any treatment given by a doctor has to be 100% success only. That is not the practical scenario. Any experience or with any highly skilled doctors also. So we need not panic. First, we need to sit, take all our documents, make sure our documents are proper, sir. That's the basic problem we do.
Key item, key element is documentation.
Yes, sir. Proper documentation, something like living apart consent and other things, sir. Whatever documents we are writing has to be properly named, dated, signed. So most of the time, out of an emergency situation, or I say some amount of carelessness, these things will not be there, sir. Sometimes we even give the document to the patients, like in case of discharge summary. So discharge summary will be given where the date of surgery will be different from actual date of surgery. These are the things where we get into trouble, sir. So beforehand, properly we need to document whatever documents we are having, we need to look into whether the documents are proper according to our case sheets. So we can actually sense uh, whether a patient will go against us or not in the manner we are going to discharge the patients.
Thank you, Sandil. I think we
Sir,
have
sir,
a silent.
I want.
Sir, Murli
Sir,
sir, I have a query from the audience.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, but go
Kasi
ahead,
sir,
sir.
you can go ahead. Kasi sir is about to say something.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. I want to add one more thing. And when you are revising the case, reading the case sheets after a crisis or after getting a notice, don't try to change the whatever the documents you have already given to the patients, particularly in the things like in discharge summary and other things. Already you would have given to the patient. No, you should not change the anything in the documents already you have given to the patients or patient's lawyer at any point of time. That will be read as serious misconduct. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Rightly pointed out.
Sir.
What I am saying is, in case if you sense some problem, so before giving a discharge summary, I want the doctor who is in charge to look into the details properly and then give the discharge summary. That's what I meant to say, sir.
Yes.
So
Okay.
once you get that notice, you give a proper correspondence or communicate with our state office, IMA, state PPLSS office, and then discuss what has been given and send an hard copy as well as mail of the concerned advocate copy or whatever it may be, or a thing from MCA. So first thing what we have to do is send an reply that stating that you had received your notice, and I will go through the proper details, and whatever thing is against us, I will give an proper reply within a period of whatever they had asked for through an registered post, sir. That's more
Satyan,
important.
can you ask that question, audience question?
Sir, there is a query from the audience.
Yeah.
Surgery is done 1 year back.
Okay, sir.
At that time of surgery, the doctor is not covered, doesn't have an indemnity cover. But a legal notice is sent regarding that surgery 1 year later. By the time the doctor has an indemnity cover, whether that legal case pertaining to that patient or case is covered now.
The policy has to be in force when the event occurred.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So IMA can give an support. IMA can give an support with regard to PPLS, as I'm saying, sir. Can give a support by giving a reply and other things, but coverage won't be there.
Coverage won't be there. Any penalty doctor is not covered by as per the policy, but the moral and a legal support is given for that doctor to fight that case.
Then they will hold hands to the doctor. He is used to doing that. He holds hands, speaks to them. Yeah. There's a lot of support. I think it's so reassuring to talk to Sendil whenever you talk to him about any issue. He's so cool and confident that I think most of the issues get solved at his level itself.
Yes, sir. The second question is to Nirmal sir, please.
Yeah. No, none of the companies we discuss offer retrospective effect.
Okay.
I don't want to take up the case. I think only IMA as a
only PPLS has that. IMA has that thing of supporting doctors even if there is no cover.
Yes.
Sir, the second query is to Sendil sir.
Yes,
so
sir.
in your vast experience of medical legal cases, how many were towards the doctor and how many were towards doctor's hospital? So what is the percentage of legal case towards the doctor and case towards the hospital?
So from the limited experience what I have, previously it used to be like towards the doctor, sir. But now I could see some cases like they are framing both the hospital and doctor, sir. The difference is like when they frame it against the hospital, there your staff and everyone is hospital owner, staff, everyone is liable, sir.
I think Dr. Manoj did mention that you must take an individual cover as a professional individual doctor, take a professional indemnity insurance for yourself, and also take a hospital coverage, which may be a little more expensive than the professional indemnity for a doctor. And if you are working in a hospital with multiple doctors and you have other staff, you must take the hospital policy as well. Even the IMA has that hospital
Yes, sir.
benefit scheme as well.
Yes.
Do not forget to cover your hospital and staff. You may be excellent, but somebody will complain against your subordinate or some other professional in your hospital. Include their name and your name as well as the director or HOD of the hospital. You will also be included along with the hospital.
Consumables, contamination of fluid.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And in the interest of time, I think we will move on to the other interesting topic, which I think we can go on discussing various aspects of professional indemnity and the negligence issues. I think it's a huge. I remember attending a one-day webinar, one-day physical meeting of the IMA on medical legal issues. I think we could not finish even by 6 p.m. that day. There's so many things to discuss in medical legal in terms of medical practice. Let's move on. I now invite Dr. Madan Gopal, our budding and enthusiastic practitioner from Salem, and he's going to speak to us on the insurance claims and what are all the vexing issues which you're all facing as practitioners. Dr. Madan.
Thanks, sir. Hope I'm audible, sir.
Yes, Madan.
Right, sir. So thanks to TNOA for this opportunity. It's great to be sitting in front of such stalwarts to discuss these little issues that all of us face on a day-to-day basis. I'm sure all of us are aware of these issues, and we keep discussing them on formal and informal fora. I just tried to compile these and put them together so that we could have a more focused discussion and try to get to the bottom of whatever we're facing. So now, when it comes to service providers, probably as ophthalmologists and eye hospitals, our issues are a little more different when compared to a general practitioner or a general hospital. So I'd like to focus my talk on what issues eye hospitals and ophthalmologists face in particular. So earlier, what was a direct relationship between a patient and a hospital? There were just two parties involved. Now it's a triangular contest where you have the insurance company, the patient, and the hospital. So you have three stakeholders in the picture. And I've intentionally put the hospital at the bottom because now we have come to the bottom of the food chain where we have done the service on credit basis and we are waiting for a lot of variables to fall in place before we are justly, given our due. So there are a lot of difficulties under different heads. So broadly, I've classified them under these heads. Let's look at them one by one. So to begin with, when we speak of the question of empanelment, when a hospital wants to get empaneled with an insurance provider, we face a few difficulties because the process is not straightforward. We often have to give a lot of reminders to a lot of people. It's a prolonged process. Then there are, the confounding issue of middlemen. And after you get into an empanelment, also you would be faced with the issues of unilateral addendums, which are being forced upon a small private practitioner or a private hospital. They have no one to, turn to for guidance in these situations. Of course, the most pricky issue would be tariff and schedule of charges, which vary widely, and the difference between the expectation and reality is often very, very vast. So what could be done? Unified portal, Nirmal sir was speaking about this some time ago. There is a plan to have a unified portal where once the hospital data is entered, when you have the requisite standards that are specified by the regulator, automatically an empanelment could happen. So that is one way to look at it. And we need to have time-bound processes where everybody works according to a plan with a lot of transparency, keeping in mind that the service providers are equal stakeholders with equal say in the process of providing eye care to the patient, and we need not be always at the receiving end. When it comes to tariff and schedule of charges, we need to have scientific costing, which has already been done by a lot of reputed partners for the societies like AOS and IMA. So these have to be put forward in all fora so that wider acceptance can be gained. Next, moving to issues with pre-authorization, which is really troubling on a day-to-day basis. So there are multiple problems here. One is that, see, once a pre-authorization is uploaded, immediately there is an arbitrary authorization by the insurance company or third-party administrator. Now they follow what is called the turnaround time. They are very, very concerned about their turnaround time, and they immediately authorize a sum. But they always step back, and there are discounts applied later. So again, it's a two-step process, which would make sense if it is a general hospital and if the patient is being admitted for a prolonged period of time. Lots of variables coming into the picture. Patient may be in the ICU, he might require surgery, come back to the ICU, step down to a ward, and then be discharged. So a lot of variables in the picture. But here in ophthalmology, we have agreed packages, and 99% there's nothing going to change in the package that was agreed upon, what was planned and what was done. So a two-step process really complicates the picture. Now the regulator is pushing for cashless everywhere, but the reception by the industry has not been that enthusiastic. When we look at it from the provider's perspective, we don't get immediate approvals for cashless everywhere. And then there are medical queries which are raised, which are sometimes baffling. And as medical professionals, we can only sit back and think, how did they even come up with such a query? And off late, the insurance verification responsibilities have also been passed on to the service provider. So what could be the possible solutions here? We would look forward to having a single authorization for ophthalmic procedures, no later reductions. I would keep coming back to this point because this is one of the most important points that reduces the trust between the parties. No later reductions. And if possible, we could have the contact details of the medical professional who's raising the question, not to disturb them, but to give them a clear answer that is satisfactory to all parties. And of course, not always a patient who's presenting to the OPD knows that he or his son or his daughter has a medical insurance that he can avail of. So usually the caregiver is in some other city, so reimbursement has to stay, and it's not possible for everybody involved in that process at that particular point of time to know what insurance the patient has or to get an assurance from the patient that he does not have an insurance. Next, coming to copay and supplements, this is another vexatious issue. As I said, turnaround time is very sacrosanct for the insurance companies. So often in chasing a turnaround time, the supplement is not verified. So they keep having supplements for routinely performed surgeries like cataract. Well, whether that can be there, that's a question for another day. But if it is there, it has to be mentioned explicitly in the first communication to the hospital and to the patient that this is what your policy allows. Now, when we say cashless for 5 lakhs, the patient often understands that it's a debit card for 5 lakhs and they can spend it as much as they like, which is not the case. The insurance company is going to give only this much for a particular disease. So that has to be clearly explained. So pre-existing disease may not have been, declared, especially in a corporate policy. Sometimes approval is given, sometimes it is not given. And this, the hospital, gets to know only after a surgery is completed. And that leads to a lot of issues. And of course, there is mis-selling by agents. Of late, a lot of steps have been taken to curb this. So solutions, we service providers are providing service on credit. Definitely, we trust the insurance companies. So we are providing all our service and our consumables on the basis of trust alone. So preferably, we require the first authorization letter to have all the details. And again, no later reductions. Once a sum has been assured, it has to be given. But whatever diligence has to be done before that assurance has been given to the hospital. And any supplement or a pre-existing, any clauses for that matter, has to be communicated to the patient in very, very clear terms. Moving on to premium IOLs and newer technology. Again, turnaround time comes into the picture. Anything that is asked for is initially approved, whether it is multifocal or whatever. And later there is a backtracking, which leads to a lot of acrimony on the ground between the patient and the service provider, while the person who was actually authorized or who is not authorized is sitting far away in a remote place. So of late, there has been an active discouragement of higher IOLs and newer technology. It is apparent that it's done for obvious financial reasons. They say that cost has to be controlled in some manner. Okay, that is fairly understandable, but then please do not communicate it to us, communicate it to your clients. That is more important. So doctors are actually caught in between in a catch-22 situation, because we are obliged morally, ethically, and legally to provide the patients with all the options at their disposal and what they can choose from. So, hiding a couple of options simply because another party does not want them to know may not be the best way to go ahead. So whatever limits are there, please communicate to your client and have a declaration and copay clearly mentioned. One another workaround, as our Dr. Hari Krishnan of AOs or the convener says, we could register refractor, because this is becoming a big contentious point. So as the height, weight, diabetes is registered when an insurance policy is given, we could also register refractive error for that matter. So there can be no manipulation of these records at a later date. Moving on to claim closure, as I said, reductions during final authorization. This is the key point that leads to a lot of discontentment and broken trust, because words such as hospital discount, do not collect from the patients, all this come in after the surgery has been done, and many a time there is a short settlement even after the final authorization has been approved, and long after surgery is done and dusted and the patient has gone. And to top it off, there are no reasons mentioned. So often the patients and doctors are left in the dark, and we have no clue about what is happening and why it is happening in the first place. So solution, again, coming back to the same point, a single authorization for ophthalmic procedures would go a long way. And the authorization letter should have all the details. Same point again, no later reductions. And of course, from our side, we can, we actually have to educate our staff with the billing protocols, because these are the way bill has to be made, and that is something that cannot be compromised upon. The heads have to be very, very clear. To be very honest, as medical professionals, we are not exposed to billing or finance for that matter in any formal way. So we have to take it upon ourselves to learn. I mean, most of us wouldn't even know a difference between an invoice, bill, or receipt when we started out our practice. So yes, it is up to us to learn, and that is where our association societies can take the lead in guiding us and our staff, because all of them are, of course, untrained. So we can have regular update programs where we can share our information. Next comes the issue of aggregators, because there are many unauthorized players in the market today. They are involved with diverting patients. And many insurance companies themselves do not look at this very, very positively. So they look down upon hospitals if there has been any association with aggregators. So there has to be a regulatory clarity when it comes to these unauthorized players in the market. And this has to be communicated to the providers by all insurance companies and TPAs. So they have to get together and make their stand very clear. So it cannot be that, a few people are opposing the aggregators and a few people have no say in that. So they have to get together and put their stand in a very, very clear manner. And this is where our associations and societies can support our doctors. Finally, coming to grievance redressal, many times there is a lack of response. So we are almost, playing single-handedly. There's only one player on the court. And so we are not getting any response apart from the TAT, which is kept up on their side. So we don't see any ownership of the patient or the case from the opposite side. So who should I, talk to? Who would give the response? We have no idea. We often face automated replies, and many a time there are no replies at all. So solutions would be to have regular engagement, and we should get together because there is strength in numbers. And we would encourage or we request people, the insurance companies, to give us a single point of contact. And on the positive side, few companies do have that, because once you get empaneled, they give you a particular person and say that this person is responsible for cases in your city. So please get in touch with them. And they actually do a good job. So we need to have a single point of contact. We need to have a grievance cell for the service providers. Just as there is an ombudsman for the patients, we definitely need to have a grievance cell. So to conclude, insurance is now definitely an essential service. And as the government says, it has to be pushed and many patients have to be enrolled so that the out-of-pocket expenses come down. That is very, very essential. It is definitely required. But what is lacking right now is that the mutual trust between the parties is definitely very low. And to enhance that, we need to have regular engagement, regular liaison between the different stakeholders, service providers, and the companies, with open communication channels. So we need to have open communication channels. Important to have human to human interactions, because a lot of problems can easily be sorted out that way when we hear the other person's perspective, because I'm sure the insurance companies also have their own problems, and which they would let us know. And we can of course look into them, and the errors in billing and admission and discharge. Definitely things can be worked out, provided we keep engaging on a regular basis, on a personal basis, rather than having these one-sided volleys, which may not be beneficial in the long run. So engagement and collaboration is the way to go when we look at the long run, where patients are the ultimate beneficiaries, and we definitely owe it to our patients. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Madan. I think that was, I think all of you will agree with me. It's a wonderful presentation, and you put the entire problems into a nutshell, and very concise, very clear way of expressing the problems and the possible solutions. I think all of us will have at least 2 questions for you. So, which will mean that you're going to sit through the next 3 hours answering. You're going to answer many of our questions. So, obviously, we're not going to jokes apart. I'm going to ask Dr. Ramesh has been posting a few questions. He is on the panel, so I'm not going to ask his questions directly. I'm going to ask Dr. Ramesh to voice his own questions. He is a giant in the practice of ophthalmology, and of course, Ramesh, appear.
Sorry, Murali, you want me to pass a comment, or you are asking?
Your questions. I think I'll read out one question. The first question regards the when a doctor and a hospital are covered by IMA, do we need the additional cover provided by commercial insurance companies? And if 30 lakhs is enough, if we don't do, is 30 lakhs enough if we don't do refractive surgeries and high risk surgeries? And do we need more cover than that?
Yes.
Dr. Kasi, can you answer that?
Sir, can you?
We have taken IMA cover for 30 lakhs. So is that enough if you are doing high profile surgeries? And should we also take additional policy from, say, Cover You or any other Mediclaim, the indemnity policy? Is IMA alone enough? Can we use both in any given situation?
Yeah, that will give us more confidence that we have some more additional coverage. That's the only confidence it will give.
Thank you.
A lot of moral boost that you have 1 crore cover.
In the last 2 years, have you had anybody asking for a claim more than 30 lakhs or 50 lakhs or 1 crore against ophthalmologists, and have we lost any of these cases?
Yeah, I think I can answer that, Ramesh. I think we've had at least one hospital where the claim has crossed 1 crore at least in a couple of occasions in ophthalmology. One had been an ROP case in which it's from Chennai, it was lost, and the other one is still now being appealed against, and that also the compensation demanded was more than 1 crore in ophthalmology.
The problem started after the amendments in 2019, sir.
Yes.
The level of the compensation can be given by the district court itself is raised to up to 50 lakhs. That comes the problem. So, in recent incidents, when a case is filed for 20 lakhs in Tanjavur, I think, the judge was generous enough to award 30 lakhs because he has the power. So, such things can happen always. So, you have to have additional indemnity also. Yeah.
Yeah. What would be a recommendation? 50 lakhs, 75 lakhs, 1 crore for an active practitioner doing 20 surgeries in a month?
That's not needed, sir, actually.
It depends on your risk profile.
Yes.
And I think 1 crore is a reasonable amount to cover now, apart from the 30 lakhs basic coverage from PPL.
Generally, how the courts sanction a compensation is based on the life expectancy of the patient. So, in an ROP case, assuming the life expectancy of the patient that long, the compensations can go
possible
over.
income
But
and all that from
age patients where it's a single eye cataract surgeries, I don't think a cataract surgery has fetched more than 10 lakhs to anybody.
Even at that point of time, they won't consider the life expectancy of the doctor and the earning capacity of the doctor.
That's the
Dr.
unfortunate.
Ramesh, Dr. Ramesh, I would request you to ask the other question on insurance. You had two queries.
So I asked my insurance task, and so they are saying that the hospital discount is sometimes getting applied to the final authorization, although the hospital has not agreed to the discount. And once the discount is applied, it takes a long time and multiple phone calls for us to get the proper amount back. This is the first question. The second question is sometimes the insurance company says they have made the payment, but it doesn't get credited into our hospital account. And this can take 6 months or 9 months or more and multiple follow-ups. So what to do under these circumstances?
Dr. Panisalam, are you there, sir?
A discount gets applied even when we are not agreed to the discount, sir.
No, this is a problem, and we have to try that. It has happened quite a few times, but when we represented, then we got it back. That's my experience.
Sir, Panisalam sir, I have a query.
Yeah.
There is a future of cashless in OPD too.
Okay.
How you see this as a future, and what impact it will create on the day-to-day running of hospitals?
As such, we have some hair on our heads, Satyan. I think we'll lose all of it.
Now, do we agree that we should encourage that, or we should oppose that? Because they are going to decide.
I think there are a long ways.
We should oppose, sir, because
it'll affect our
we should oppose, sir, but eventually cash flow. Eventually, we were opposing about insurance for surgeries too. Now we ended up, when I started my practice, the insurance cover for the surgeries were only 20-30%. Now it is almost 80%. So even if we don't object significantly, probably the cashless OPD thing also will percolate, and out of competition, we tend to enroll ourselves what we are doing it for insurance for surgeries now.
Sir, one
So
suggestion.
Yes, sir.
Definitely, it will be going to happen. Definitely, it will
Yes,
be
sir.
going to happen one day. And what we can do as an association, we have to prescribe the minimum fees. Say, for example, now we are offering 500, 600 means we have to raise it to 800 or 1,000, and all our members at least to follow that, so that we can have uniformity. When there is uniformity, the patients will be left. They left alone, and they have to come to us only. No. So we have to make that commitment, and every member has to take it. That's the only way out, I think.
I understand that, but it's very difficult to implement because it all depends on the place that you practice and where the penetration is very less. And we have to balance it with other patients also who are not covered by insurance, who are not going to take the insurance. So that way, there is a huge disparity. We cannot just raise our fees only for the insured people, which is also a major drawback.
Yeah, yes, I agree.
Rajesh, Dr. Rajesh runs a very busy practice, a group practice in Chennai, and he's a veterinary surgeon, and he has lots of issues he has been facing with regards to insurance and patient claims and so on. Most of what Madan had discussed, I think he had mentioned to me that some of these problems he has been facing. I now request Rajesh to put in his comments and the problems he has been facing in his practice.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, Rajesh.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
yes.
Basically, probably I faced a lot of problems. There are a lot of delay in payments. I don't know, especially this year in 2024. I still have payments from January, last December, which are not settled. And like how Dr. Madana Gopal said, there is no response from the insurance side. So I don't know, especially this year. And I've had claims where the amount, instead of getting credited to me, it's gone to the patient's account. And it's been 2 years now. And the patient is not paid us. And the insurance company is not doing anything about it. So I have literally no idea what to do. And there are
double dhamaka for patients.
Yeah.
So
for getting operated.
The only problem which is the insurance company sends us messages and they expect us to not to everything they say, and there is no response from their side for all our difficulties. There is absolutely no response
how
at
do you
all.
react to insurance, some kind of a statement which you had mentioned that do not encourage patients to go in for mid-off lens or
Recently,
multifocal lens?
on another group, another doctor had messaged this, sir, saying do not recommend high value IOLs, and they specifically mentioned it also: Technis, toric, multifocal, trifocal, whatever EDOF lenses, and do not collect excess. So basically, I've stopped doing that company, sir, now, basically.
So how do you handle that, Dr. Ramesh, if that happens to you? So somebody says don't do multifocal, don't for insurance patient. You're muted.
Ramesh, sir.
Sorry. So specifically for toric, it applies to me because I don't encourage multifocal lenses. But for toric lenses, my current package is basic cost plus the cost of IOL. I don't have a capping on the lens. So I have escaped this problem. And I escaped this problem 2 years ago. But before that, when I had a fixed package, what happened was I used to explain to the patient that these options are there. If you want a clean insurance process without any problems, please choose the lower end package. But if you want what is best for the eye, you have the option of doing this, in which case the balance you will have to pay. There's no pressure from our end, you decide whatever you want. If you want a problematic insurance reimbursement, where there will be plenty of queries and partly it will be reimbursed, we'll go in for the costly packages. If you want to have a no problem situation, you please go for the lower end package, which they will approve.
But the patient,
Another question,
whatever
Dr.
excess amount,
Ramesh, is I think I remember discussing this some time ago in many of our associations, that shall we do only when do away with cashless and ask the patients to go ahead and claim later? Does that work these days?
No, because like you mentioned, 40 to 80% of those who have insurance, the patients are all used to the insurance, and I think we'll all have a drop in our volumes if we say no to insurance. And
no to medical.
Though we are discussing, we are not the big volumes here. The big volumes are by major centers which are finding the current insurance payment quite profitable. So there is, if we are coming out, we are shooting ourselves in the foot. I think the solution is the standalone practices have to form small groups, and standalone practitioners have to go to other centers which have insurance. A single man practitioner cannot afford the overheads involved in getting certification and getting insurance and doing all the back end work which has to be done. So the youngsters have to form small groups. In future, the larger the group, they will survive. Smaller groups and standalone will find it very difficult.
Absolutely. Dr. Jayanthan.
I have a query, sir. Yes, sir. To Jayanthan, since he is doing a lot of refractive surgery, how often you have patients asking for insurance? How you tackle that, Jayanthan?
Sir, insurance definitely will come, especially when they're working in an IT. Generally, what I tell them is like insurance generally doesn't cover the refractive procedures. They consider as a cosmetic procedure. And I tell them to get the exact clause which the company is providing. I'll ask them to talk to the HR, get the exact clause. And if that covers, I'll tell them you can go ahead. 99% they'll have clause which doesn't fit into our criteria. So I tell them to go for a reimbursement.
But what is this -7 diopter business for capping for insurance for refractive? Where does this -7 come in?
Sir, at least before it was above -7. Now certain companies has got a clause plus or -5. They want the exact number. One patient walked in with a -5 with 0.75 cylinder, and they rejected the claim for the patient. Even the reimbursement, they're crazy, sir. So
how did these guidelines come? Who put them?
The worst part is when you go for reimbursement also, sir. Now they have one more query. They state that we have to, instead of just giving a prescription, we have to actually take the exact snap of the image of the machine, the values which were entered in the machine before doing the procedure. They want the exact screenshot to be uploaded for the claim. That's
the screenshot of the last week monitor.
Yes, sir. They want the exact
Complete
number.
lack of trust in the doctor and the hospital. Complete absence of trust. Asking
Sir, I have one
Yeah.
more query. One more query to Nirmal sir and Madan, since they are part of that insurance committee. Why not patient gets that prior cashless approval instead of we applying and processing prior to the surgery? Literally, we are facilitators. Why? See, they know that they have a cataract. They know what lens they want. They have their own insurance. We don't encourage them to go for this insurance, this company, or different company. They have a specific insurance in a specific company. When they want to undergo a surgery, why not patient approach the insurance company, get a cashless approval, undergo the surgery so that they can pay directly. The insurance company can pay directly instead of we processing, we applying, we processing, we are sandwiched between the patient and the insurance company or the TPA. Nirmal sir, Madan.
Madan, I would like to answer.
Give me a sir.
Enna Madan?
Give me a sir.
So why not we approach insurance company in that way? See, we will stop applying, we will stop processing all those cashless.
Satyan,
ask the patient to get up. Yes, sir.
If you do that, there are sort of other things that can happen. The insurance company will direct where to go, and you lose the choice. At least now you have a
sir. How many cases? Sir, do you think now they are not doing it?
They are doing that, and they have more control over that then.
Okay, sir.
We have to be careful.
One answer to you, Satyan, we are not living in an ideal world. Right? So in an ideal world, this is possible. But in a not so ideal world where every patient is important, and or if you feel that is important, then we have to bend to their dictates. So this is how it started, and this is the stage where we have reached. If all of us put our heads together and say that we will not do this, we will not be the clerk for you, the insurance companies or TPA, it is possible. But there are always people who will budge and do that. So then now we come to this stage. So this is how it started a few years back.
Yeah, as an association, Dr. Nirmal, can we have some, at least a very basic 10-point guideline as to what we should do and we should not, as far as are concerned, like how can I put out? Could we have some guidelines as to how we should formally handle this? For example, Dr. Ramesh had raised a query that an insurance company is not settling its claim for 6 months. Suppose you have 10 patients with 50,000 each, so you have about 5 to 10 lakhs not being paid to you. So it can hit a practitioner badly in 6 months. You're not getting paid. So should we proceed medico-legally, or should we stop taking patients from the insurance company? So how do we handle it?
Okay. See, so one thing I always say is offense is the best form of defense. We are scared to be offensive. So most of our practitioners are really scared to even write an email back to the TPA. After all, what they can do? So they can see, even for writing to a small TPA, our people are scared, right? So that is where we start. See, the problem is we are scared about TPAs and insurance. We don't raise our voice. So we are the service providers. So, and patient is with us. If we have that confidence, definitely we can write back and say, this is not possible. We will not do this case. So when, so there have been many instances. One is Mumbai, where they started all these things. Cashless, of course, over a period of time, it didn't go through well. Now I think still very holding on to it, not doing cashless. And then Jaipur, there was an incident where they literally throttled an insurance company to come to the discussion table by collective effort. So this collective effort should come to all the associations and all our members. The main problem is only to 10 to 20% of our members listen to us. Even for sending an email stating that we will not write or sign an addendum, so hardly 2 or 3 responded. So this is the status. With this status, it's very, very difficult to make a collective effort. So about the guidelines, yes, it is possible. There are a lot of guidelines already. So what you do for the patient, what you do for, it's already the practice guidelines are there. Dealing with the insurance companies, so if you are going to sign a MOU, it starts with that. You're going to sign a MOU, plus we have to read all the terms and conditions. See whether it is feasible. Just because you want empanelment and just because you want the patient, please don't rush to sign the empanelment MOU. Second, see whether the tariff is in tune with your services and as well as scope of services. Just give tariff only for the service you provide. I think even the last insurance meeting, we told this. If you're not doing VR, don't give a package rate for VR. That spoils and affects our friendly colleagues from VR also. So just give rates, package rate, whether it will be suitable and viable for your practice, then only accept. If it is not viable, it's always better not to give. Second thing is just provide package only for the services you do. And third is, if there is a due from the insurance company, keep writing to them. Every 15 days, there should be an email from your insurance company, from your insurance desk. These are the pending, and these are the actual payables, and this is the date bar, say 50 days, 80 days, 90 days. So every 15 days, there should be an email reminder to the companies. If they are not responding, mark a copy to the Ombudsman and IRDA. So we have to write and it is our money. We already provided the service. So we have to diligently follow. If you keep on marking copies to your auditor, your advocate, and mark a copy to Ombudsman and IRDA, definitely the TPA is capped. Right? So this is a situation where the brainiest people are so worried about the small fellows. It's paradoxical and
sir, one more point to add. One more point to add, sir. Regarding hospital discount also.
Yeah.
We need not be so eager to sign an MOU when they ask whatever discount they want, sir. So I even showed my fixed way of replying to TPAs who ask for the discount. I even shared that screenshot to him. So I never give a discount to any of the initial days. I have given 5%, 10%, and I have to renew all those insurance to a new MOU. But the recent ones, the last 4 or 5 years, I have a fixed line saying that I won't give a discount. I have a lot of overheads to cover, and it is not profitable, and I cannot survive by giving a discount. So I think everybody has to do that.
No, standard reply is 0 discount to all accepted packages. No more discounts. You have accepted the package and signed. It is your duty to send the money due to us. The second thing is for OPD services or any other services, if they want, we ask them to make it as an open package, so away from the package. So if you really want that 10% or 5%, make it as an open package with our rates, and then we will give you some discount on the non-medical items or whatever it is, and also on the not on the lenses. So we clearly say no discount possible for the consumables and IOLs, only for the hospital discount, but there may be a 5% discount applicable. We may lose 1 or 2 patients.
Yeah, I'm going to ask for a quick comment from Dr. Jayanthan regarding the aggregator menace which we have been facing in our practices, and many of them are there in our background. They keep approaching us, they keep calling us. So how do you handle this, Jayanthan? And I think TNOA has sent out a circular and a letter, an advisory to all members. Jayanthan, the aggregator menace.
So probably one good thing about here we don't face so much of aggregators. Probably 1 or 2 people came here, but still everybody is united here, and we say that we are not interested. So at least in Erode district, we don't have much of. I mean, both from the doctor side and from the aggregator side, we don't have much of an issue. But neighboring districts, definitely we have a lot of issues happening.
Coimbatore?
Yes, sir. Definitely Coimbatore.
Yes, sir. We have few in Coimbatore.
So coming out of it also is a problem. Suppose you have done something a few years ago and you have forgotten about it. People still put you on that list and they keep enlisting you, and you are blacklisted on their so-called in their insurance website. If you do it with one company, and the name comes up in some other companies, entire group of companies. That's what has happened to some of our practitioners also. They have done some dealing with one company in the past. And the entire network of the consortium of other companies puts you on the so-called blacklist, and the doctor is not able to deal with. When you have a so-called blacklisted hospital, what happens is neither the patient can go and claim even after the surgery, let alone cashless. So the patient is completely in the dark, and the patient is asked to actually check on the website of the insurance company whether your hospital is on the so-called blacklist or list of hospitals which is not approved for insurance. Yeah, Satyan.
Sir, I have a query from the audience.
Yeah.
Is it mandatory for the hospital to be NABH accredited for insurance empanelment?
No, not now. So, but previously there was a clause that at least entry-level accreditation should be there. But now with cashless everywhere, that NABH accreditation point has been taken off.
Okay, sir. Second is how to empanel for government pensioner scheme.
Okay, so government pension scheme, you need to reach out to the nodal insurance agency. In Tamil Nadu, the nodal insurance is United India, and their TPA is MD India. So you need to send an empanelment request to MD India, and then you have to wait for them to come for an inspection of your facility. So if it is NABH accredited facility, I think they waiver of this visit. But they are very selective in empaneling the hospital. They say based on the previous request from the hospital and number of claims, they take up the hospitals in their empanelment.
So there is a lot of third party involved. Are the brokers involved in empaneling for the government pension scheme with a lot of money involved also, sir? Is it wise to go for it or wait for the insurance company to?
Right. We raised this issue even in the last meeting with the General Insurance Committee and the insurers. Their firm advises not to go through any third-party vendors for empanelment, because their empanelment as of now, because of the logistic reasons, they are selective in empanelment. And that is the reason why cashless everywhere has come. So cashless everywhere is to facilitate this, and there is a strong move from IRDA to make it a single point empanelment for all hospitals based on certain accreditation and certification. So hopefully with the new health exchange that is being promoted, this will be a one-time approval and one-time empanelment. So we need to wait for that process to get through. Might take about 6 months to 9 months time.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you all. I think we had a wonderful 1.5 hours session on various aspects of professional indemnity, as well as the various issues which we face in our patients' mediclaim procedures and the problems. And I hope that many of the problems which we have put forth and the possible solutions that have been offered will be useful to all our members who attended this program. And I'm really thankful to all of our esteemed panelists, starting from our President, Dr. Nirmal, Dr. Paneerselvam, Dr. Jayantan, Dr. Kasi, and of course my co-moderator and Dr. Sendil and Jayantan and all others who have participated in Dr. Ramesh Thurirajan, who has participated in the meeting today. And any other comments and queries before we close?
No,
yeah, probably I want to say one thing. Like,
yes, Manoj.
Consequent to our insurance meeting in New Delhi recently, we have decided that shortly within a week's time, a tab will come up on our AIOS website, which through which Dr. Nirmal just now suggested that recurrent email should be given. And if such a situation arises, also mark a copy and upload the grievance on the AIOS website. So over a period of time, if we have multiple grievances on our website, collectively we can take all together and take up the issue with that relevant company. So along with dealing with the insurance companies directly, I suggest that shortly within a week's time, the tab will be functional. Mark also a copy to AIOS Secretary.
So I thought it should come from you, Manoj sir.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'll just share a few points, Murli.
Yes, sir.
Right. So just to reassure members about what the association is doing. So we had a head start from TNOA for this insurance issue and a few of the medical legal issues. We did have a committee meeting and formulated certain demands and sent a memorandum to all the insurance companies. Few insurance companies responded, and they did modify some of their ways after that. And then we had National Insurance Summit at Coimbatore, where we demanded a 5-point demand. So that includes one single empanelment. Second one is remove the administrative hassles in sublimits and all other things. Third is having a grievance redressal forum, a high-level grievance redressal forum. And fourth is for the due packages, we need to form a scientific costing. Following that, at TNOA, I think we communicated a minimum amount, not to go below that particular amount for the packages. Very few hospitals are following that. It is important that we don't quote below that particular rate, because once you quote that, they're going to untwist the other hospitals in your area to sign for that. So about signing the MOU, we have to be diligent. Each hospital can negotiate. Don't be scared to negotiate. So they will use all their techniques to get the lower rate, because that is their business. For us, our profession has to be sustainable, and we have to follow the standards in practice. Otherwise, all this medical negligence will come. So we have to follow a balancing act, follow the standards, and also see how we are sustainable. From the association side, from TNOA and All India Ophthalmic Society, we are dealing with this at 3 levels. One is at the policy level. We are working on the General Insurance Committee and IRDA to streamline their policies towards this medical health insurance. And at present, they are working with us and listening to us also. So some of them was reflected in the last IRDA's circular issued last month, which is the turnaround time of 3 hours after discharge summary, you have to finalize. So that will be good, and we are pushing it for 1 hour for eye care cases, since ours is a daycare. So they are also working on this. Once it comes, it will be relatively easy. The second point, we are pushing the GIC and the companies is for 1-point approval. So this has been a demand from all the daycare service providers, because the patients stay with us for only few hours. And with that, if there is 2 or 3 stage approval, it is very, very difficult. So now they have, in principle, they have formulating that there will be a 1-page fact sheet where it will be mentioned about the patient and all the demographic profile, the sum insured, and what would be the sublimit if there are any, and pre-existing PD, pre-existing diseases, and a clear data in 1-page fact sheet. So IRDA has already given a time period up to July 31st for the insurance companies to follow this. Hopefully, with if IRDA pushes that, then our genuine demand of single point approval or single time approval will be taken care of. The third aspect is the monetary aspect. From IMA, we also had a meeting with the IMA leadership on collaborating with them for these policy issues and working on the advocacy part with the Ministry of Health, taking up all these details or the grievances to the Ministry of Health, where we have suggested direct benefit transfer, direct money transfer to the patient. I think somebody raised this issue. Direct benefit to the patient directly rather than giving through the healthcare institutions. If that comes, if you are able to achieve this, our problem will be solved. We need not break our head about this and lose our hair. But we have to be united. I'm sure if medical associations come together, definitely it is feasible, but it is a long way. Till that time, we need to solve the administrative hassles first, and we are working on removing all these administrative hassles one by one. We are working with the GIC. Hopefully, 3 or 4 issues related to the sublimits and co-pay, as well as the MRP invoices. So, in principle, they have accepted that they will abide if we give a full rate card for all the implants. They will agree for the MRP without the individual invoices for packages. I think it's a very complex procedure. So hopefully another few months, this also will be solved. The grievance redressal, it is still pending with the IRDA. They are pushing for it at the policy level to involve healthcare providers as well as insurance companies to bring them to the discussion table on formulating this tripartite high-level grievance mechanism. Hopefully, in another few months, it will come to fruition. So, I just want to reassure members. So, don't sign MOU in haste, because very difficult to go back. And if you already signed, don't worry about it. With 1 month notice, you can get back and stay away from it. And aggregators issues, better stay away from it because it's a legal, ethical issues. So better not to get involved with them. So we've already warned our members through many advisories, and many associations have given advisories. It's important that our members follow the standards and ethical norms, not to align with the third-party aggregators. Thank you.
Thank you, Nirmal. And any final comments and from Dr. Satyan? You can close.
Nothing, sir. Yes, sir. You can close. Yes.
So thank you all once again for a wonderful session. I think it has been a really important and a very kind of eye-opener session for many of us who have learned various aspects of the professional indemnity and the insurance. A lot of things to discuss and a lot of problems we are now facing. I think we have made a start, because to address at least the problems we are facing and then find possible solutions. And I think one word, as Dr. Nirmal pointed out, and Dr. Manoj also was saying, is to stay united, stay with the organization, stay with an association, and the fight, you're not alone in your fight, and you're not alone in your battle against these commercial aspects of the companies and so on. So I think we should stay united, stay as an association, and that's when we have strength in what we are doing. A sincere thanks once again to all the panelists and all the senior members of our TNOA who have attended this meeting. Thank you one and all, and a very good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Manoj,
sir.
sir.
Thank you all.